The official Spider-Man teaser just dropped, and this next update is shaping up to be huge. It's already blowing up across every platform, which pretty much confirms we're getting another massive Marvel crossover. The update lands on July 30th, dropping right before the movie itself hits theaters. Epic is keeping most of the details locked down for now, but a few things are already clear. We're definitely getting a fresh Spider-Man skin based on the new film, and it's rolling out alongside a web shooter gameplay mechanic. That's obviously not the whole package either, since Epic almost always saves a few extra rewards and surprises for launch day. Spidey has always been one of the most hyped crossover characters in Fortnite, so the anticipation for this one is on another level. Personally, I'm hoping they go bigger than just a skin, maybe themed locations or other faces showing up on the map like Punisher and Hulk. It'd be sick if they dropped in with their own signature weapons too. Circling back to the release, the collab is set to go live July 30th. But that's really just the opening act. Over the next few months, Fortnite is planning to flood the game with skins from across the Marvel universe as we creep closer to Avengers: Doomsday. Disney has been aggressive lately about cutting deals with games like Marvel Rivals, pushing Doomsday with a fresh collab basically every month. They've turned it into a full countdown, rolling out themed items for each Avengers film. Our first real confirmation that Fortnite is part of the plan came when Captain America and Iron Man from the original movie got added. Next in line is Ultron for the second one. We also know for a fact that Epic is adding a new sprite to celebrate the crossover. It'll be themed, and my gut says it'll hand you the same abilities as the web shooters, basically an alternative to what the Batman sprite does right now. So sprite collectors, don't get comfortable, because you're going to be grinding to track this new one down for your lineup. And honestly, that's a given at this point, since Epic has fully cracked the code on the sprite system. They're going to milk it straight through the end of the season. Something tells me it won't stop there either, and this stretches across a few seasons. To back that up, let's look at the numbers. Pull up the Battle Royale concurrent stats from the last few weeks, and your jaw is going to end up somewhere on the floor. Peak online this season hasn't dipped below 500,000 a single time, and it usually sits comfortably around 600,000 to 700,000. The most absurd moment came on June 27th, when a regular Power Hour pulled in more than 1.5 million players at once. For perspective, the Shattered Live event that Epic hyped for nearly a month brought in 4 million. But this was just a routine hour-long event thrown together for sprite farming. Even the official Fortnite account admitted they're floored by how hard the community latched onto the sprites, and of course, they promise things are only getting more interesting from here. That's honestly a little creepy, but it raises the real question. What's actually driving this insane growth? I dug into it, read through the comments, and narrowed it down to main reasons behind the phenomenon. We'll work from the surface level stuff down to the deepest cuts. Number 5 is gameplay hunger. Let's be real, by the back half of Chapter 6, Standard Battle Royale had worn out its welcome for a lot of people. Same recycled locations, the same tired mechanics, and zero willingness to gamble on anything new. The community was flat out burned out, and the sprites became a breath of fresh air. A different match rhythm that plays like an extraction shooter, reshuffled priorities, and most importantly, a new objective that pushes you to play for more than just the victory royale, chasing a rare sprite instead. Rarities running from common all the way up to mythic, quality tiers stretching from gold to galactic, and a collection book sitting right there in the lobby. Adding new sprites to your roster feels good, but slamming that book shut at a full 100% feels even better. The odds of pulling a mythic epicenter sprite in gold quality sit at 1 in 100 million, and deep down, every looper genuinely believes the next chest is the one, the chest hiding the sprite they've been chasing. To crank the pressure even higher, Epic layered in limited time events with ultra rare sprite variants. That Power Hour with galactic sprites, the one that pulled over 1.5 million people, backs that up completely. Everybody loves flexing something hyped, especially when it's rare on top of it. That's just human nature. And finally, we land on the deepest reason, progression that carries over from one match into the next. For my money, this is one of Epic's biggest trump cards this season. Back in Standard Battle Royale, everything you earned in a game stayed locked inside it. The devs had messed around with a system like this once before. Now, your sprites stick around, your pollen sticks around, and your collection progress holds too. Every match becomes one more step towards something that stays with you for good, whether it takes the shape of a skin style or a container. That's exactly what turns ordinary games into a mini roleplay. So there you have it, the foundation the entire Fortnite player base is standing on right now. And what can I even say? Epic absolutely nailed the bullseye here. Fortnite is arguably living through its brightest stretch in a couple of years, because they finally landed on a formula that has millions of players booting the game up every single day. Who would have guessed that a bunch of goofy, colorful little guys would do more for Fortnite in one season than dozens of Hollywood star collabs and blockbuster tie-ins combined? And clearly, we're not getting a chance to get bored this season, because the latest update dragged in a whole pile of new stuff too. And it's not just about new sprites, map changes, and new characters. It's also loaded with references to the upcoming seasons. We got a throw on Bruce's swim trunks with the new bat skin so we can drop onto this island, because that's where you'll find the beach Batmobile, which shows up marked on the map just like the DeLorean from Back to the Future used to. And the cool thing about it is that when you jump from up high, you can pop open these wings and glide across the sky. You can also use it to go visit Batman, who's hanging out super close to the Batcave, which we'll check out in a sec. But the interesting part is that this character sells you his grappling hook, the same one that dropped way back in Chapter 1. And these items are going to come in clutch for knocking out all the summer quests, where we've got a bunch of free rewards on the table. And in those rewards, you'll also find the Batman sprite, though don't stress about it because you'll be able to grab this one a bunch of other ways too. In fact, right here in this image, you can see all the variants it's going to have available starting today. And honestly, the best part isn't even the design, it's the ability, because it lets you deploy the Batcape the same way you use the grappling hook. On top of that, you'll be able to find rare sprites and chests way more often during your Battle Royale matches. But the Batman sprite isn't the only new addition in this patch, because we've also got the Vinicius Jr. sprite, which gives you a destructive slide when you sprint at max speed. So I'm assuming you can bust through walls and stuff like that. And get this, if you kick an enemy, your fire rate and reload speed both go up. After that, we've got the air sprite, which I was already calling one of the best. And now that I've gotten to test it, yeah, it lives up to the hype. It boosts your speed and jump height, and it even cancels out fall damage. And the fourth and final one is the Foundation sprite, which tags your enemy's footsteps. And there's even more going on with this Bat Summer event, because now we've got a new storm zone shaped like a bat. And Bruce Wayne didn't come alone. He brought his friends and rivals along to the island. If you talk to Batman, he makes it clear that he's only on the island to visit while he's on vacation, so I'm guessing he won't play any role in the storyline. But even though he says he's on vacation, he still brought the Batcave with him, and that's a seriously cool spot with the Batman logo on it. The most interesting stuff in there is that it's got cameras all over the map, so it's basically watching you at all times. Plus, the Joker had his own prison down here. And the last cool thing I spotted was the surfboards, since Bruce Wayne apparently rolled up to the island to catch some waves. And while we're looking at the map, let me also show you the Sloan Collider, which isn't finished yet, but they're chipping away at it every patch. After that, we've got some smaller changes, like the Cluster Yacht, which is now parked somewhere else. And finally, the zone that used to belong to the Squids last season had emptied out after the final event, and now it's got water in it again. The map changes obviously aren't the highlight, since this update is all about Batman, but he didn't show up as the only skin, because we've also got his sidekick, plus 3 other awesome characters you can already grab in the shop today. And I'd seriously appreciate it if you buy them with my creator code, since that's the best way to support the channel. And these 3 girls are in the same boat as Batman, since they're actually out on the island. He's an NPC you can find pretty easily, but they show up randomly around the map, and if you track them down, you can challenge them, and any one of them will hand you a mythic weapon. Another interesting map change you can spot is over in Battlewood, where there's a whole mural dedicated to Spider-Man. And yeah guys, this is your official confirmation that he's coming to Fortnite. We all know how tight Marvel is with Fortnite, so everybody was expecting this collab. And in this patch, the leakers already managed to spot a file that confirms 100% we're getting the brand new day version. most likely for the next update. And remember, he wasn't coming alone, because in theory, he'll be joined by a Punisher. And we're not just getting characters. The Spider-Man sprite is coming too. And the last leak tied to this collab is the return of the web shooters. And if all this content still wasn't enough, we've got the new bus escape mechanic. I already told you at the start of the season, this looked like it wanted to drop on day one, since the trailer you're watching right now went up literally within hours of the season launching. And that right there represents the new mechanic we'll get halfway through a match, because in any game we play, a Rift Mania can pop up, and the goal is to find the bus and hop on board to win the match. So whenever you spot this emoji, you gotta book it over there so you're one of the ones on the bus, and that's how you score the masterful victory. And now that we've covered all the new stuff and the Batman collab, let's talk about the other collabs coming up soon. First collab skin that got confirmed is Beckham, since he announced it himself, and we'd get both his suit version and his version playing for the English national team. Another more encrypted collab would be Phantom Blade Zero, which even though Epic confirmed it, right now, we don't know how it's gonna look in the game. And for the rest of the new stuff, as far as skins go, we gotta head to the pass, since Sloan now has a 7 style, and you unlock it by completing certain story quests. You can also spot this character on this loading screen right here, and it's not the only new one. We've got this other one too, obviously a story reference where you can clearly see a Hope in a 7 suit, who's obviously gonna drop as a skin down the line. And after Season 4, we already got some clues that Epic is cooking up a Marvel mini-season to close out Chapter 7. Word is this thing is running under the codename Nolly Snap, and it'll roll in with the V43 update. And according to leakers with a spotless track record, Season 4 is built around gaming legends. It's a complete collab season, in the same spirit as Chapter 2 Season 4, when Galactus took over the whole thing with Marvel. Or Chapter 5 Season 4 that went all in on Marvel again with Doctor Doom. This time it plays out like that stretch right before the Zero Crisis, except now it's gaming icons flooding onto the island. How do we get to this season, you ask? Simple. The 0 point is destabilized right now. It's getting knocked totally off balance, which is exactly why the 7 are scrambling to build the stabilizer. The real question is whether that thing actually holds, and it does not look promising. Everything points to the 0 point spiraling even harder and ripping open portals into other worlds, and those worlds are packed with crossovers. Brace yourself, because word is, Season 4 brings collabs with Mega Man, Crash Bandicoot, Kingdom Hearts, and a whole lineup beyond that. Picture their season back in Chapter 2, when Fortnite crammed a ridiculous number of crossovers into one battle pass. Jonesy fired up his Rift device and pulled in the Terminator, the Xenomorph, threw in Street Fighter, and straight up the Mandalorian. That's the energy here, only this time we could be getting the most requested collabs in the game's history. Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the biggest names in gaming, and there's a real chance it finally shows up in Season 4. The Battle Pass started leaking too, and from those same sources, the Season 4 pass is rumored to headline Sonic. Epic already confirmed he's coming to the game, and now it sounds like Season 4 is where he lands, sitting right at the top of the pass as the marquee crossover. That would be massive. Better yet, he wouldn't just be some sidekick. We're talking a full character skin. Either they stretch his legs out so he stands at normal skin height, or they stick him in a mech suit the way they've handled every other character who was too tiny to fit the game. Like the current season, Season 4 is loaded with content drops, 4 updates in total. That number could shift, and maybe they tack on a 5th, but 4 alone tells you this is a heavyweight season and not some filler stretch. But Season 4 isn't the only thing that's spilled. Chapter 8 might have already leaked, and it sounds absolutely lunar. Cast your mind back a few years to when Donald Mustard dropped a video and quietly buried the words "Last Reality" into the background. Not long after, we met the aliens, the Last Reality, the Cube Queen, the Herald, and the Nothing. That whole faction became our sworn enemy, the crew that wrecked us back in the day, and honestly still has us on the ropes today. Years later, somebody new picked up that torch, and it's Chris over at Epic Games. He's basically running the same playbook Mustard used to, except he's doing it even sharper. The guy drops flat-out deranged story hints, and lately he's been teasing the nothing directly. Ever since Chapter 7 kicked off, the clues have been everywhere. Eyes staring back at us, signs and billboards whispering that the nothing is watching, that there's nothing to see here, with the word nothing standing in for the entity itself. Those boards are still scattered across the island talking about it, and the nothing has never once been teased this aggressively. On top of that, he didn't just tease the nothing showing up, he teased the final reality. My read, and a lot of people are landing on the same idea, is that Chapter 8 is the final reality. We've spent this entire journey inside Reality Zero, the reality of the 0 point, the place where everything began. Well, there's a mirror image of that. The final reality, the command center, the home base of the last reality aliens. If Chapter 8 really is set there, we might finally go toe-to-toe with the true last reality, meaning the nothing itself, backed by the queen we've never managed to beat, and the herald who's almost certainly still breathing. That would be an unreal payoff to a storyline Epic started building years ago, right before they flip the page and start writing something brand new, because we're genuinely closing in on the end of the tale we've been fed all this time. We pretty much know the score. Geno got introduced recently, the mastermind sitting at the top of the whole operation, so the only piece still missing is the last reality. Sure, the Dark Voyager is floating around, but he's just a trooper, not the head of the last reality, which leaves the nothing as the final name yet to appear. Now, I mentioned earlier that every recent chapter has shipped with a fresh, one-of-a-kind game mode, and you're going to get details on this one faster than expected. A brand new mode on that scale, and it's an extraction mode. A Disney extraction mode, to be precise. Info is already trickling out. The whole thing is wrapped around a Disney theme. And I've got a strong feeling that the first season of this mode, or chapter, is going to tie straight into Marvel. Because as we know, this extraction mode has to land sometime in November, and that aligns perfectly with the Doomsday movie release. So I guess to build up the hype around it, and knowing it's a Disney mode, there's a strong possibility it's going to be Marvel themed at the start. Fortnite has literally never done an extraction mode before, and honestly, it fits this season perfectly, where the whole point is extracting sprites. The twist is that here you're extracting weapons and materials to craft stronger gear. Basically, we're getting our own Arc Raiders, just soaked in Disney flavor. And you won't be waiting long for details, because next month brings a special Disney event called D23. That's where Fortnite tends to reveal its huge Disney Universe news, so there's a solid chance we hear fresh info on the Epic and Disney metaverse they've been cooking, plus more on this extraction mode arriving at the tail end of the year. So over the next few weeks and months, expect an avalanche of details about where Fortnite is headed and what 2027 looks like.